Hey guys, welcome to a short update about how to build CBC in your own project using the release mode and the 64-bit version. This question popped up into a discussion about my latest video. Well, it's actually 2 years old, and a user had trouble making it work under release mode in 64-bit. So here's a very short description how to do this. A quick reminder, I will not go into that much detail, so if you have trouble understanding what's going on here, please make sure to watch my very first video about CBC Solver. The first thing you have to do is go navigate to the GitHub page and clone this CBC repositories and its dependencies. You can find the dependencies listed here below in dependencies and config.yml. Open this config.yml and you will get a list of dependencies which are listed as optional. You can skip them if you do not need them, but you have to download the required dependencies. Please download them or clone them and put them all into one folder, and the resulting folder might look like this. You start with CBC and the necessary dependencies like CGL, CLP, CoinUtils, OSI, and so on. This is the very first step we have to do. The next thing we have to do is to compile CBC using Visual Studio. To do so, navigate to your CBC folder and then into the MS Visual Studio folder. And now pick whatever your working version is. I usually go with the latest version, which is v17. Open it and you will find a CBC solution inside this folder. Open it and Visual Studio will open the solution. Just a quick reminder, since we downloaded all the necessary dependencies, here all this listed projects inside the solutions, they are not listed as missing. So next is please make sure that you have your release mode activated and that you're working under 64-bit. And all you have to do now is to build the solution. So right click on solution and build solution. And Visual Studio will now build the CBC the libraries for the dependencies and everything we will need to do to include this into our own project. This usually won't take so long, just a couple of minutes depending on your hardware. Oh, the unit tests take a couple of minutes. And there you go. 12 projects built successfully and nothing failed. So CBC is built correctly. You can find the compiled libraries now inside your v17 folder in the x64 folder. And therefore in the release folder, and here you will find all the libraries like from CBC or CBC Solver, CGL, and so on. And the next step is now how to include them properly into your own project. So please create an empty console application. I already did this and I put this into the folder CBC include test, CBC test, but the structure is of course up to you. The next thing is you have to copy all the compiled libraries from CBC into your CBC tests folder. I usually do this into a separate folder which I called include and then lib, so lib for library. And this is the output generated by CBC. So I just copied them, paste them into this folder, and that's it. Now we have to tell Visual Studio how to find these libraries, so how to include them into your project. To do so, open up your console application. I prepared some stuff already. So this is the same source code as I presented you in the first video, so that nothing changed. How to implement, to show where Visual Studio can find the libraries, navigate to your project properties, make sure you are release configuration and you are on the 64-bit platform. Then navigate to your linker, and under General, you will have something called additional library directories. Here you just add in the path where you copied the libraries. So in my case, it was include lib. For simplicity, I just plugged in the whole path, but you can work here with relative paths instead of absolute paths. This doesn't change anything. That is the first thing you have to do. The next thing is you have to tell Visual Studio which library you actually want to include into your project. This is done under linker and now input. Here you can find something called additional dependencies. Don't worry, I will put all the text files into the video description. And you can see I just put it in all the libraries, so libCbl, CbcSolver, CGL, CLP, CoinUtils, and all the stuff. Here nothing changed in contrast to the first video. What I did change is how to get the header files linked into Visual Studio. In the first video, I just copied all the header files from all the dependencies into one big folder. This is a valid approach, you can do this, but I want to show you something else which is maybe a little more nicer. So to show where Visual Studio can find the header files, navigate to C++, and under General, you have something like additional include directories. So what does this mean? What do we want to include into our project? We want to include CBC, we want to include CGL, CLP, CoinUtils, and OSI. And there's a specific structure in these projects. For instance, in CBC, you will find something like a folder called source, where all the header files are located. Like here's a header file, here's a header file, and so on. And what I did, I just copied all the folder paths. You can see CBC source, CBC source, OSI, CBC. And I just copied them and made a big list and copied them here into our additional include directories. Again, I will paste this into the video description. And let's take a look. Where is CBC? Here. There you can find CBC source. I just pasted and plugged it in here. You can click on here and then you can copy the path and paste it here. I also added the dependencies like CLP, CGL. They have the same structure. Let's take a look here. Let's move this a little bit up. Let's take a look at CGL, for instance. In CGL, you have again a source folder, and the source folder contains like 20 or 30 different folders. And these folders, they contain header files which we have to include. So just copy all these paths and paste them into your additional include directories. And do this for all the dependencies. So for CGL, for CLP, you have the OCI CLP, and so on. And this is basically all you have to do to link the CBC and its dependencies into your whole project. This is it's a basic approach to include complex or to include external projects into your own project. This is quite a standard approach. So once you have done this, just click on OK and then click on Apply on the left-hand side here. And that's all you have to do to include CBC into your project. We are left with compiling this project, so fire up the compiler and see if it's worked. And oh, there you go. There was no compilation error. And as you can see here, CBC included the P0033 problem correctly and started to work with the solver, which I submitted here. And in the end, it computed the final output. So I think it worked correctly, and we have linked CBC with the newest version. I think I used the 2.10.12 version. I linked them into your project using the release version and the x64-bit version. And well, I hope this helps somebody out there to configure their projects using CBC. Thank you and see you around.